Guys, I hate working at Chipotle. It's just the worst job ever. I remember when I got here a few months ago, they put me on the grill because I was like, I want to learn how food works at scale. Biggest mistake of my life. I got put on the grill, 7.5 hours just running back and forth. You don't even get time to take a piss. Just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Mixing this, cutting that, pouring a thing in here, getting shouted at by my boss. Gosh, don't even get me started on my boss. Dude's such an asshole. I'd be trying to do anything, and it's like I'm falling behind, doing everything I can to keep up, and he'll come over and be like, "Why isn't your table clean? You want to clean this table right now?" And if I'm like, "Bro, like, can you see like there's 30 people all in a line right now. I'm exhausted. I'm trying to keep up." He'll be like, "Do you need to go home? Do you need to go home?" Like, like, just insane. And that's kind of how it was when I started, and things have changed a lot since then. It's just become more routine. I just, go in and I do the same thing each day, and then, my freaking finger is like popping in and out of its joints in the middle of the night because my hands get so much pressure from cutting dozens of pounds of meat every single day. Grill is the hardest job at a Chipotle. It really is. I'm not throwing myself a pita party. A pita party? I'm not saying it for you to feel bad for me. It's just like, if you've ever worked a job like this, you know how exhausting it is. But I want to tell you something else because I'm about to go in. I have to go in right now. I'm literally late for my shift making this stupid video. And it got me thinking about how the Gervais principle affects this. This was an article written on Ribbon Farm a while back about how organizations work. And I've only read like the first of the posts, but it's based on The Office, the American version. And it kind of chronologues and catalogs the systems by which organizations function, where you have basically like sociopaths who start this company because they're absolute maniacs, and they find a couple of, losers who they hire to help get the company going. And then as the company expands, you have a bunch of clueless people in the middle. And then eventually, over the life cycle of the company, in, corporate management, you have the growing section of the middle of the pyramid, which is the losers. It's the clueless people that grow the pyramid. And this is evident all through The Office, where I'm not going to go into all of it, but because I remember I was talking to my boss, and he's actually a nice guy sometimes. I said he was an asshole. He would tell you that. Sometimes he says he's not. It's kind of funny, but he was saying, I didn't set out to roll burritos. That wasn't my dream, but here I am. And all summer long when we worked together, we kind of sort of settled our differences. I'm a very stubborn person, and so is he. So we had some differences, and I think we've worked together enough now to know that we're on the same page. And he was telling me, this wasn't my dream, and here I am, And he's like so many, and I see them as the clueless. They're the clueless people in the middle of the pyramid. They get promoted because they say yes. They get promoted to the minimum level of their competence. And in his case, he's very hardworking, which is probably why he got promoted. But in more recent times, he's realized that actually just about anybody will get promoted if they're a warm body who keeps saying yes. He's becoming more and more jaded. And he's realized that he's being taken advantage of by this company. Then they're not willing to help him in the times where, a bunch of managers all quit at once. And now I'm working my ass off because... Anyway, I'm not going to rant for much longer about this. I got to get into my shift. I fucking hate this job, dude. This is like the lowest paying job I've ever had. Last year, I was getting paid $40 an hour to train AI.